Extreme Collectibles here with a very rare piece. There was only 27 of these, and there's one other review online that I know of that's a really good review. It's by Gem Mint Collectibles. If you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, go check that out. You probably have, because he has about 10 times more subscribers than I do. And Gem, if you're watching, I got your money, fool. Extreme Collectibles here with a quarter scale Jubilee vs. Sentinel piece. This is a custom piece. There was 27 of these made. I decided to do a review on this. I've had this since it came out. The commissioner was kind of asking me when I was going to do a review, and as I said in the intro, there's one other review out there on it from Gem Mint, and I think he just sold his actually when I'm filming this. I think he did it the day before. But not too many pieces of Jubilee out there. That's why I jumped on this. I have a huge X-Men vs. Sentinel display in the works. I have quite a few pieces already and a lot more coming on in. It's going to be a giant wall that's, it's just a giant wall. So I can't wait to show that in the room tour someday. But I got this, and initially I had some reservations, and there's some really good things about this statue. Some really cool, unique things. Some things that are just okay, but nothing really bad. First time I bought from this commissioner. Came in one very large box, as you can see. A few different pieces. The base is all one piece, minus the sign. Jubilee is one piece. She has her arms and her fireworks that shoot out connect. And I did have one damaged, one of the fireworks, which I can't even tell where I glued it. It was so long ago. I had to re-glue. And she has 3 different portraits. So the 3 different portraits we're actually going to go over when we do the sculpt and design, because I'd like to review each of them. This is my favorite one, the one with the bubble gum on there. But very cool piece. Shipping price, I want to say it was around $700 or $800 US, and shipping was it was a lot on this guy. I remember that. It was around $400. So I've had it for a while, and I think it's an excellent addition to the X-Men vs. Sentinel concept, simply for the fact there's not too many Jubilees done. Jubilee obviously is one of the youngest X-Men out there. She hurts people by shooting lights out of her hands. There's obviously more to it, you know, than that. So, but talking about the concept and design, again, this is an X-Men vs. Sentinel piece. First of all, you have a Sentinel foot, and when I first unboxed this, and when I saw Gem's review, that's 3 times. 3 times I give you a shout out, bro. Bro, I hate calling people bro. But what do you, I don't like saying their names either. I don't like saying man, hey bro. I guess you, hey you. I don't know. If I say that to him, he might bend me over and ask where his money is. But, back to this piece. So first of all, the Sentinel foot, I thought it was way too big. That's what she said. It didn't seem right. It didn't scale right, especially if you put Sideshow premium format Wolverine or Sideshow Magneto maquette, where the head and the hand is about this small. But then I started getting some other custom pieces. I have custom Beast vs. Sentinel, custom Magneto vs. Sentinel, and then recently Fastball. All of those, the scale is correct with this. So I think that Sideshow actually, and the license companies, they're the ones doing a miss on the scale, and the custom companies are actually getting it correct, which is unfortunate because, as you know, as collectors, space is our enemy. But anyway, you have a Sentinel foot completely battle damaged, and almost all these Sentinel pieces, no matter who they come from, the base is kind of this rocky, you know, free of vegetation, kind of futuristic, which you think of when an atomic war went off and there's nothing left living. They're all these rocky concrete base. So the foot's sitting on that. And Jubilee, it's in the future, signed with no mutants. She is sitting there in an action dynamic pose. She, her coat is flowing in the wind. She's leaning forward. She's showing off her power. There's some burnt marks we're going to talk about on the Sentinel because she probably destroyed it. One thing about Jubilee is, depending on her portrait, it changes the concept a little bit on this piece. First of all, the one I like the most, the bubblegum one, it's very playful. Kind of like she's having fun. It really shows the true spirits of Jubilee, as she is a younger child, or not a younger child, she is a child. And then there's some other ones we're going to look at where it's more of a fierce, more of a angry, fighting portrait. So as far as the design, the one criticism I have for the design is this rocky base goes out way too far. This takes up so much space for a secondary character, and I think they could have cut some of this off. And then also, with some of the seam lines that are in her hands where they connect, the solution was to give some plastic bracelets, which, to be honest with you, is a very creative solution. I just don't know if I'm sold. It does decently hide the seam lines. But so those are my two big issues with the design. Otherwise, it's executed pretty well. So looking at the base here, first of all, looking at the rock, I think the concrete rock is a miss. The texture is very similar throughout, so you know, there's some parts jutting out where the Sentinel foot slammed down, but the color and the texture and variation is very boring. That's why I said they could have just, you know, cut most of it off and it would have looked better. She did not say that. My God. So there's some different colors in there with the concrete, and I'm not sure what they were trying to go for, but I'm not a big fan of that part of it. The Sentinel foot looks really good. It's not, there's something missing, and I think it's the purple color as far as the paint. The paint's a little flat, but I like the variations and the different colors they used in the paint. There is some purple scoring up where the burnt marks look, and some blacks and some silvers. I really like how much they damaged this Sentinel up, simply for the fact that you would think to really take a Sentinel down, it's probably got to take a lot of beating. Where a lot of the other Sentinel pieces out there, the Sentinel hand or head or whatever it is, looks almost brand new. So I really like that they did that, and it's a little bit more concept and design. The gears in the middle of the foot, they look okay. They don't look like real gears, a little bit, or hoses or tubes or whatever they are. Could have been a better sculpt. However, the gears where it's broken off from the Sentinel look really good. They actually use some, looks like speaker wire to add to the effect of it, which I think is kind of cool, kind of unique, inventive. But overall, the sculpt of the foot looks really good. One part where it kind of mixes with the ground, I'm not really sure on that. But I think overall it's a great looking Sentinel foot. I do have quite a few other Sentinel feet coming. Not quite a few, but I think 4, 5, 6, something like that. So it'll be interesting to compare those. The No Mutant sign, pretty basic. It's a cheap plastic material. I think they could have spent a little more money on that, but it does its job if you don't look at it close. And I like how it's kind of painted, and it really sets, you know, the picture for the scene. Starting at Jubilee, first of all, her boots. Great boots. I talk about boots and shoes a lot, but really, really cool. I like the colors they use, very true to Jubilee, and it's not just a solid blue, but there's some purples mixed in there, and it's from the Sentinel foot. So well done on that. And then I like how they did the folds in there. The seams on the bottom are okay, but the folds are really good, along with the sculpt. Jubilee's legs, very plain, very basic, but she's a young person, so there's not going to really be a lot of muscle and definition in there. The skin tones are good. There's some pink and some whatever color I am in there. And a little bit of muscle tone, I guess, on the left. Her shorts kind of follow her boots, same colors. The mix of the purples and the blues and almost some light greens in there. And I think they did a great job with the seams on here. So the seams running up the side, and again, the folds look great. One thing about Jubilee, she has a huge ass. And I do not like big butts, and that is not a lie. Her belt looks really good. Some good definition both in the paint and the sculpt of it. I like the X right there. Her shirt, I'm a big fan of her shirt, not just because of what's underneath it, but there's some, again, some great sculpt in the folds and some really cool texture on it that you really can't see unless it's close. But nice job on the shirt. I like the color they chose. I like how it's not just solid purple maroonish, but there's some black mixed in with that texture. Then her coat is excellent. First of all, I really like the sculpt and the flow of it, and they maintain some folds and some seams. Her belt coming out the sides looks really cool, and there's some different yellows in there. Yellow on a statue is really risky when you have so much of it, but it looks really good. I think they did a great job with her coat, not just the back on the folds and things like that, but they did it on a, ooh, I have a PO coming up. It goes up in 5 minutes. It's probably going to sell out. Gotta hurry up this review. But they did a great job on the sleeves as well. And you see a few rivets on the front of her jacket. Great job. Then her hands look okay. They look a little too skinny for how thick her body is. And the gloves, I'm not a big fan of the way the gloves look on there. Maybe it's the sculpt, maybe it's the paint. It's kind of hard to tell. Then her fireworks, I do like that. What they did, I like the sculpt of them. I like the shape, the direction they're going. I like that the fact they're different colors, yet they're still semi-transparent. Then moving to her portrait, first the one I like, her bubblegum portrait, as I said, really, really cool. I like the playfulness of it. I like the concept. On all of them, her hair looks good. It's very true to Jubilee. It's very, it's sculpted well. I like the blackness to it. Her earrings are actually mixed media that kind of just sit in there, and that's the same with all three heads. This one, her sunglasses are up. Her eyes look okay. They look a little painted on. They don't look too real. I think there's some opportunity lost there. I really like how pure her face is. Not really a lot of definition in the cheekbones, which kind of take away from it too, so it's kind of a pro-con. This next head here is the open mouth, sunglasses down. So this is kind of a fighting pose. First of all, this one looks okay. Again, there's no cheekbones or definitions, but the coloring is the same. It looks good. The inside of her mouth looks all right. It doesn't look great. I've seen better. It doesn't look bad, though. And then obviously you can't see her eyes. The sunglasses do look good. And then the last one, her sunglasses up and her mouth is slightly open where her teeth are clenched. Again, kind of the same feedback, but it's in a different format. The eyes could have been done better. It's interesting, her eyebrows are actually a different color than her hair. So she obviously dyes her hair, or I don't know too much about that. But again, the eyes on this one look a little bit better than the initial one I showed you. And I think there's some lost opportunity in the definition of the mouth and teeth. But overall, if you're not examining the heads, you know, with a microscope, they look really good. I think it's perfect to the character. I think it's a good piece. So when I first saw this piece, I was When I first opened it, I was From, you know, 6 months ago or however long ago that was till today, every day it grows and grows on you, and there's more and more cool things. So I think it's well done. There's a few small tweaks that could have made it better, but it's a very cool custom piece, especially for a character that's not done too much. I would almost challenge someone to make a better Jubilee because I think they'll have a tough time. Really, I want to know your thoughts on this. It's so rare, 27 pieces. Whether you would get Jubilee if you had the room to add to your X-Men collection. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like this, please comment, please share, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Take care.